Joining us now on the preview show of the Boomer and the Babe Roadshow is Nancy Flager. Nancy Flager is with Prepaid Legal Services, Inc. She's an expert in business, prepaid legal, and personal prepaid legal and identity theft shield. Nancy's also a regular on our radio show talking about these very topics, and we're glad to have you with us today on the pilot for our new television show.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
I bet you are. I can tell that you're happy. You can relax. I'm trying to relax too. A couple questions. First of all, you've been with Prepaid Legal Services for several years now, haven't you?
I've been with Prepaid Legal for 10 years.
10 years. And do you primarily work with business or personal?
I actually work both business and personal, and with businesses we have different business owner plans, but we also do group benefits.
Okay, very good. Nancy's going to be one of the people that are going to be on our roundtables from time to time. She'll probably appear in some of our business segments, and she'll definitely be appearing in probably a roundtable that has to do with security, business security, and personal security as well. So toward that end, and keeping that in mind, let me ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
Okay.
There's a law called the FACTA law. Is that not correct? Mm-hmm. Is that the right term, FACTA? And that has to do with businesses having to take care of their clients' personal records.
Well, actually, those are the FACTA red flag rules.
Okay.
That pertain to those. Those were rules that went into effect January 1st of this year.
And what are some of those rules, and what do businesses have to do to be in compliance?
To be in compliance, the businesses are supposed to have written security policies and procedures. This is not computers, this is written. Policies and procedures in place. Mandatory employee meetings are required to train the employees, and then they're supposed to designate a security person, officer, whoever it might be within the corporation, board of directors, or just as an employee, depending on the size of the business. Mandatory meetings to update them. They need to sign off that they've been through these meetings, they've been trained, they understand, and actually what the government wants to see is a paper trail, because if something would happen, like a breach of security in any way, shape, or form, if the business just says, I'm trying to do the right thing, if you can't show you're doing the right thing, that's where the fines and penalties will take effect, and they're severe.
Let's go back just for a minute to the person that's going to be in charge of this. The person that's in charge of it is somebody designated by the company or the corporate leadership, correct?
It would be someone within the business. If it's a big, organization, it would be someone on their board of directors.
Okay.
If it's a small company, it's just going to be someone, an employee, or someone that they designate to be, to take the responsibility and watch and make sure everything's being done the right. The paper is not being left on a desk. Computer screens aren't being left open. Things like that.
This is kind of related in some ways to the HIPAA law in medicine, only this is now the FACTA law as it pertains to business.
Well, yes, the same thing, but actually FACTA red flag rules apply to every single business. It doesn't matter whether what kind of business it is or how many employees. So FACTA relates to medical records. Right. But HIPAA is medical records. Right. FACTA is the Fair and Accurate Credit Transactions Act.
All right, now let me pose a hypothetical. Well, it's actually not hypothetical. We did business with you. We've done business with you right along. You've done some advertising with us. We've taken and have your credit card information. Mm-hmm. Now, what am I supposed to be making sure that how that credit information is maintained in my system, and what are just some very basic things that I have to make sure how it's done, how it's treated to comply?
You're a small business, so
Correct.
You don't have all the procedures that you don't have to train employees. You just need to be careful and aware of where you're keeping that document.
Okay.
Or those documentations, the financial information.
Okay.
You need to be careful. It needs to be locked up. Don't put it in a computer and leave it in your car.
That was my question. Now, can it be a computer file on my desktop? Does that comply, or does it have to be off of the computer file in a hard copy somewhere stashed away in a file cabinet that's locked?
Well, actually, all of that. You
Okay.
need to maintain your, the security on your computers But the reason these rules came out is because identity theft is so rampant and there's not any way to stop it. Everything's out there on the internet.
Exactly.
And it's public record. There's not any way to stop it. And it's just happening. You know, the government says 1 in 4 people will be a victim.
Okay.
So it's just doing all of that.
Okay, now, I've got these files, I've got these records, I've got them secure, and I've got to show the government that I'm in compliance. Is that correct?
If something would happen, you need to be able to show that you're taking a reasonable effort, and that's what the Federal Trade Commission wants to see, that you are making a reasonable effort, that they can see you're trying to do the right thing, because there's not any way to prevent it.
Okay, now we were talking before we started taping this segment that there was a deadline that was November of this year, and now it's moved to May of next year. What was that deadline, and what was the information that for the deadline compliance that was moved? What is that?
The deadline with November 1st was that every business was supposed to be compliant by November 1st.
Compliant by November 1st, okay. And
And
they've moved it because?
Because nobody was doing the work.
Nobody believed it.
Nobody believed it. A lot of different businesses, whatever type, even municipalities, were sent out letters that you do fall under the red flag rules. Everybody does, but there were a lot of agencies. I just got the email last night from the Institute of Fraud Risk Management, from the CEO, and the reason was that a lot of businesses didn't think they fell under FTC.
Okay, all right. So they didn't feel that they, or realize that they were amongst the businesses categorized that had to follow
They
this
just
rule.
didn't think, since they didn't have to comply with FTC regulations, they didn't think this applied to them. Or they think if they don't maintain financial information, it doesn't apply to them. But everybody does, because every business has somebody's personal information, whether it's on an employee, a vendor, a customer, whatever. Everybody falls under that.
Well, as you can see, Nancy certainly knows her way around this fact, red flag rules. She's been doing it for some time, and is very aware of everything that needs to be done for business. So in the event that you need to have somebody taking a look at your business, make sure that you are in compliance, or if you've never heard about this before, be sure to contact Nancy. And how can people do that, Nancy?
You can reach me on my number, 623-486-0375.
623-486-0375. I got it right the first time. Very good. Is there a website?
My website is nmdbenefits.com.
nmdbenefits.com. So you can't go wrong talking to Nancy. She can let you know where you are, tell you what you have to do. It's all good information, and it'll help protect your business. Thank you very much for being here, Nancy.
Thank you.